In 1947, as Europe's wounds from war still bled dust and memory, a quiet act of legal erasure was signed by the Allied powers. Control Council Law No. 46 did not merely dissolve a government, it struck through a name, Prussia. A kingdom that had once shaped the spine of modern Europe was, on paper, no more. Once the architect of empire, now branded the bearer of militarism. But empires don't vanish with ink. Their echoes linger in ruined palaces, train timetables, and the rhythm of disciplined footsteps that once echoed through cobbled squares. Prussia was not born in grandeur, but in grit. In the early 15th century, around the year 1415, along the wind-swept plains of Brandenburg, pine forests bowed under snow, and farmers sowed rye in sandy, reluctant earth. Children in linen shirts learned obedience from weather and silence. There were no riches, no cities of marble, just discipline, just duty. In this soil of hardship, the Hohenzollerns began to build something strange, a state that found strength not in abundance, but in order. Where France danced, Prussia marched. Where others basked in courts, Prussia drilled in yards. Voltaire once quipped, "While other states have armies, the Prussian army has a state." Roads were ruled by routine. Tax records rivaled library catalogues. Even music, flutes and drums, was timed to precision. It was not tyranny, it was belief. Belief that structure could tame fate. From towns like Potsdam to the plains of Königsberg, life ticked forward, measured, deliberate, disciplined. Then came Frederick, a boy who read poetry under candlelight and played the flute beneath the stars. But when he became king, he became something else, Frederick the Great. He seized Silesia with military grace and held his own in the 7 Years' War. In Sanssouci Palace, he hosted thinkers. In the battlefield, he made generals kneel. He was contradiction, delicate hands, iron will. And in him, Prussia found its voice, brilliant, bold, and mercilessly rational. But even steel bends. In 1806, Napoleon's legions crushed the Prussian army at Jena Auerstedt. Banners burned, officers wept. The myth of Prussia shattered, yet in the ashes, reformers like Stein and Hardenberg found purpose. Serfdom was ended. Schools were built, the army reformed. What fell in battle was reborn in books and classrooms. From smithies and seminar halls, a quieter power emerged. Prussia would not die. It would adapt. After Napoleon, a patchwork of 39 German states emerged, uneasy, disconnected. In taverns and lecture halls, students whispered of unity, poems became slogans, flags were stitched in secret. But unity through democracy faltered. Idealism needed a shepherd, or a sword, and Prussia, patient and calculating, stood ready. In 1862, a man stepped from the shadows, Otto von Bismarck. Born of Prussian nobility, steeped in scripture and saber, he was no idealist. Not by speeches and majority decisions, he said, but by blood and iron. He saw unity not in songs, but in conflict. Through cunning, fear, and war, he would forge Germany, and he would do it in Prussia's stern image. In 1864, the duchies of Schleswig and Holstein sparked his fire. When Denmark moved to absorb them, Bismarck struck. He drew Austria into alliance, then crushed the Danes. But he wasn't done. He needed tension. He needed an enemy. The spark would become a blaze. By 1866, Austria and Prussia faced off like rival kings. On the fields of Königgrätz, Prussian needle guns and rail-timed attacks brought swift victory. Bismarck spared Vienna, not from mercy, but from strategy. Austria was exiled from German affairs. A new confederation was formed, north of the main river, under Prussian dominance. The dream of unity had a spine now, and it marched in boots. But the South remained skeptical, Catholic, independent, unconvinced by Protestant Berlin. Bismarck needed fear to bind them. France, proud and insecure, played its part. He doctored the Ems dispatch, a telegram meant to provoke. And it did. France declared war. Germany rallied. In 1870, Prussia led a coalition of German states into battle. Farmers became riflemen. Trains roared with troops. At Sedan, the French army crumbled. Napoleon III was captured. Paris was besieged. Firelight danced on shattered boulevards. It was not just a military campaign, it was destiny made manifest. Then came the crown. On January 18, 1871, in the Hall of Mirrors at Versailles, once the jewel of French pride, Wilhelm Brandt, I was proclaimed Emperor of a united Germany. Chandelier flickered above as Prussian boots echoed across polished marble. The empire was born not in peace, but in humiliation of others and perhaps one day of itself. Now Germany wore Prussia's colors, the bureaucracy, the army, the values. It was all Prussian. Children learned of Frederick, soldiers trained in Prussian gray, streets echoed with obedience. But unity forged in war carries the heat of its birth, and fire, left unchecked, burns. In 1914, that fire raged again. The German army, still Prussian in soul, marched into Belgium. The First World War began. The discipline that built a kingdom now delivered it to chaos. 4 years of trenches and blood. When silence fell, monarchs had vanished. The Kaiser fled. Prussia's world was shattered. In the 1920s, Berlin danced. Prussia, now a free state, welcomed modernists, democrats, visionaries. Jazz echoed where drums once did, yet beneath the glamour lay unease. The old virtues, order, certainty, control, whispered from the shadows, waiting. When Hitler rose, he destroyed what was left. He hated federalism, abolished states. Prussia became a name without a soul, absorbed into Nazi machinery. Hermann Göring was named its head, but the title was hollow. The last flickers of that old order were extinguished, replaced with fanaticism. World War II ended all doubt. Prussia's cities, Königsberg, Breslau, Danzig, were bombed, burned, or handed to other nations. Its borders vanished, its people scattered or buried. What the Allies couldn't bomb, history erased. In 1947, it became official. Prussia no longer existed. Not conquered, erased. No kings, no armies, no anthem. A name once spoken with awe was now relegated to archives and memory. Silence replaced the sound of marching feet. But silence holds echoes. In Berlin's trains, in Germany's punctual clocks, in school timetables and civic duty, you still feel it. The Prussian spirit, disciplined, resilient, rational, lives on, not in flags, but in habits, in efficiency, in order, in the way a nation remembers and reforms. Let me take you there. Imagine it now. The morning mist still clings to the trimmed hedgerows of Sanssouci, where time moves slowly among statues and empty fountains. You walk past cracked marble and faded frescoes, through corridors where once the laughter of philosophers echoed under Frederick's flute. Gravel crunches beneath your shoes as it did beneath soldiers' boots long ago. Step into Spandau's silent parade ground. No drills, just weeds in the cobblestones. Close your eyes. You may still hear the ghost march. In Kaliningrad, once Königsberg, Kant's tomb stands solemn amid Soviet blocks. The trams pass by, unaware. Yet in the rhythm of that city, something remains. Prussia is not on the map. It is in the movement of trains, in the discipline of planning, in the hush of ruined greatness. A kingdom built on order, risen and gone, still whispers beneath the earth. Thank you for walking with us through the rise and fall of Prussia. If this journey stirred your curiosity, subscribe to our channel. Every week, we explore the human stories behind history's great turning points. Tell us in the comments, what forgotten kingdom or lost empire should we explore next?